Hi guys, welcome back to my channel 32 Happy Teeth. Now we will be studying about the major connectors. There will be two videos on major connectors. In this particular video, we will be dealing with the maxillary major connectors, and in the upcoming video, we will be learning about the mandibular major connectors. So before starting the video, I would like you people to subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell icon so that whenever I post a new video, you will get a notification of it. Otherwise, you will be missing it. Okay, so without wasting any further time, let's start the video. So the first thing which we learn about the types of the maxillary major connector. So broadly there are 6 types of maxillary major connectors, and these are palatal bar, palatal strap, antero-posterior, or you can also call it as double palatal bar, horseshoe shaped or U-shaped palatal bar, closed horseshoe or antero-posterior palatal strap, and the last but not the least, it is complete palate. Now we will be dealing with all these major connectors one by one. Okay, so first one is your palatal bar. Now where can you use this palatal bar? What are its indications? Okay, so the first indication is interim partial denture. Now what do you understand by interim? Interim means meanwhile, that is intermediate. So for if you want to use a meanwhile major connector, you can go for palatal bar. It is very convenient. And the second thing where you can use this is Kennedy class 3. If you remember, Kennedy class 3 was a unilateral edentulous space which was bounded by natural teeth on both the sides. Okay, so if you have not watched my video, Kennedy video and also Applegate's rule, I have posted 2 videos. Okay, one of Kennedy classification and the other of Applegate's rule. You can watch that. I'll provide the link in the description box and also on the I button. Okay, now moving on to the video. So where can you use? You can use in Kennedy class 3. Now look at this diagram. Here this is your Kennedy class 3. This is your edentulous space, and these two teeth, okay, this edentulous space is bounded by these 2 teeth and they are natural teeth. Hence it is Kennedy class 3. Now you can see the palatal bar in Kennedy class 3. Now one more condition is that you can use this palatal bar in Kennedy class 3 only if you have to replace 1 or 2 teeth. If you have a long edentulous space, that is you need to replace 3 or 4 or 5 teeth, you cannot use palatal bar. Why? The reason being that since it is a long edentulous space, you will have to make this palatal bar like for more rigidity, you will have to make it more bulky. So it will be more uncomfortable to the patient. The patient won't be able to adapt to this bar. Hence you cannot use in Kennedy class 3 for long edentulous span. But yes, of course you can use it for replacing 1 to 2 teeth in case of Kennedy class 3. Now let's move on to its disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages of using a palatal bar? The first one is that most difficult for patient to get adjusted. As to maintain rigidity, it has to be bulky. Now this point we have already discussed in the previous slide, that if it is a long edentulous space, you will have to make it bulky in order to get more rigidity. Thus it will be more inconvenient or uncomfortable for the patient to get adjusted to it. Now what is the second disadvantage? The second one is narrow antero-posterior width derives little support from the palate, hence it should be positively supported by rests on remaining teeth. Now what do we understand by this is that since the anterior posterior width of the palatal bar is narrow, it is thin, so it derives little support from the palate. So what will you do if you want more support? Then you will have to obtain rest from the remaining natural teeth. Okay, now the third is that it should be placed no further anteriorly than second premolar position due to tongue interference. Okay, so this it is a maxillary major connector, and when you will place it more anteriorly, there will be interference to the tongue. Hence you cannot place it anterior to the second premolar. So you'll have to place it posteriorly to second premolar. Now the last disadvantage is should never be used in distal extension situation. And class 4. So what was class 4? Class 4 was single, bilateral, crossing the midline edentulous space bounded by natural teeth on both the sides. So you cannot use or you shouldn't use palatal bar in distal extension situations such as Kennedy class 1 and Kennedy class 2 as well as in class 4. Now let us move on to the palatal strip. That is our second type of maxillary major connector. First, let us understand what is palatal strap. So as compared to palatal bar, palatal strap is wide in the anterior-posterior dimension, whereas palatal bar was narrow in the anterior-posterior dimension. And this palatal strap, it is made up of thin band of metal, and it runs across the palate, as you can see in this diagram. Now there should be a minimum width of 8 millimeter to derive the palatal support and for maintaining the rigidity of the connector. So since it is a thin band of metal, hence if you want to maintain the rigidity of this maxillary major connector, so the minimum width should be of 8 millimeter, so that you can even derive the palatal support as well as maintain its rigidity. And this maxillary major connector palatal strap is the most versatile major connector. It is the most commonly used. Now let us move on to its indications. So the first indication is unilateral distal extension partial denture. So when there is a distal extension case and it is unilateral, so it is class 2. But if it is bilateral edentulous space distal extension case, so it is class 1. So you can use palatal strap in Kennedy class 2, and you can also use it in class 3. So if you remember, class 3 was, yes, edentulous space on one side bounded by natural teeth on both the sides. So it is tooth supported short span bilateral edentulous areas. So you can use palatal strap in Kennedy class 2 and Kennedy class 3. Now let us move on to the advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages of palatal strap are, so the first is offers great resistance to bending and twisting forces because it is located in 3 planes. So you can see that because it is located in 3 planes, the palatal strap, so it offers a good resistance to bending as well as twisting forces. Now what are these 3 planes? It is horizontal, vertical and sagittal. So horizontal plane is your palatal vault. So palatal vault, it derives support from the palatal vault, and as we have discussed in the previous slide, that is the introduction of palatal strap, we already discussed that if you want to derive support, proper support, and to maintain the rigidity of the connector, a minimum width should be of, yes, 8 millimeter. So the horizontal plane is your palatal vault, and the vertical plate, so the vertical plane is your lateral slopes of palate. Okay, so the lateral slopes of the palate, as you can see here, so these are your lateral slopes of palate. So this is your vertical plane. Okay, so this is also like where it derives support, and hence it offers great resistance in these areas. Now the third plane is sagittal plane, that is your anterior slope of palate. So the anterior slope of palate, palatal vault, and your lateral slopes of palate. So in all these 3 planes, it offers great resistance to bending and twisting forces. Now moving on to the second advantage, it is produces greater rigidity with less bulk of metal. Okay, so if you want a great rigidity, good rigidity from this palatal strap, since it is wide in the anterior posterior direction, so you don't have to make it more bulky, whereas the complete opposite was true for palatal bar. Since it is very narrow, so what you have to do to maintain, to have a good rigidity, you have to make it bulky, and that would lead to making the patient uncomfortable. Now the third advantage is it can be kept thin, increasing patient comfort. Okay, now I have discussed this in the second point only. Now move on to the fourth. Fourth is retention through adhesion and cohesion is enhanced by intimate contact. See, adhesion and cohesion, it uses both adhesion and cohesion. And why? Because it is in intimate contact with your palatal vault, hence you get retention through adhesion and cohesion both. Now it also contributes some indirect retention. So what is a great advantage of palatal strap? That in spite of all these advantages, that is retention through adhesion or cohesion, or offers resistance to bending and twisting forces, less bulk, less patient discomfort, it also provides some amount of indirect retention. So that is a very good point. Now let us move on to the disadvantages. So the disadvantages are, patient may complain of excessive palatal coverage, that is borders should be properly placed to avoid this. So since we saw that this is wide, anterior posterior, and it covers a large portion of palate. So this might be a problematic for some patients, and what we can do to avoid this problem, that we can place it properly in our palate so that the patient is not very much aware of its placement, hence making it less uncomfortable. Now the second disadvantage is strap must avoid crossing a torus, a maxillary torus, or a prominent mid-palatine suture. So if there is a prominent mid-palatine suture or there is a maxillary torus, so we have to make sure that our palatal strap shouldn't cross that thing. Okay, now since the third disadvantage is, since it covers a major portion of palate, it can cause papillary hyperplasia. It can act as an irritant and it can lead to papillary hyperplasia. Okay, so these are all the disadvantages of palatal strap. We will be moving on to the double palatal bar, which is also called as the antero-posterior palatal bar. Okay. So the double palatal bar, as the name suggests, it consists basically two bars. So one bar is placed anteriorly. You can see that this is the anterior bar, and the other one is placed posteriorly. Okay, and both of these bars, that is the anterior and the posterior bars, are connected. And how are they connected? They are connected by flat longitudinal elements on each side of the lateral slopes of the palate. Okay, so this is your lateral slopes of palate, and this is the flat longitudinal elements that connect both anterior and posterior bar. Now the flat anterior bar is narrower than the palatal strap, and thus it should be positioned in the rugae valleys. So the anterior bar is narrower than the palatal strap, and the posterior bar is similar to the palatal bar, but it is less bulky. So the anterior bar is flat and it is narrower than a normal palatal strap, whereas the posterior bar is similar to the palatal bar, but it is less bulky. Now we will be moving on to its indications. Suppose there is a large inoperable tori present in our palatal area. So what can you do? We can go for double palatal bar, because the tori is present in the palatal area, and there will be a bar, that is a one bar anterior bar placed anteriorly in the rugae valleys, and there will be another posterior bar, so it won't be covering your tori. Now second is anterior and posterior abutments are widely separated. Okay, so if there is like you have to take use two abutments, and one is placed anteriorly and the other is placed posteriorly, and there is a large gap, there is a wide separation between both of these like abutments, you can also opt for double palatal bar in these situations. Now patients who want less palatal coverage, see in this area when we talk about palatal bar, okay, so it is thin, you cannot derive like a greater rigidity, and if you want great rigidity, then you have to make it bulky, leading to patient discomfort. But in palatal strap, it is less bulky, it is good, but what about the coverage? Of course it covers a lot of palatal area, hence it can be uncomfortable for many of the patients. But you can use double palatal bar because it is thin on both the sides and it can cover less palate, thus more comfortable to the patient. And the fourth indication is you can use this in Kennedy class 2 and class 4. What is class 2? Class 2 is unilateral edentulous space, whereas class 4 is single bilateral crossing the midline edentulous space bounded by natural teeth on both the sides. Okay, now move on to the advantages. The advantages are rigidity, of course, because there are two palatal bars, one anterior, one posterior. Limited soft tissue coverage, yes, we have discussed previously. Strong L-beam effect contributes to good resistance. Now, as we discussed previously, there is a flat longitudinal elements which joins both the anterior and posterior bars, hence leading to a L-beam effect, which in turn leads to a good resistance. Now let us move on to its disadvantages. So the first disadvantage is less palatal support, hence cannot be used when periodontal support of remaining teeth is poor. Now as we discussed in its indications, that if the abutments, anterior and posterior abutments, are widely placed, then it is a very good indication to use double palatal bar. But what about if the periodontal support of the remaining natural teeth is not good? Then you won't be able to derive much palatal support. So this is a disadvantage. Now not indicated with high narrow palatal vault as anterior bar interferes with phonetics. Suppose if your patient has a high narrow palatal vault, you cannot use double palatal bar because there will be interference in the phonetics. The person cannot talk properly. Now the third point is multiple borders make it uncomfortable for the patient. See, there are multiple borders here. There is anterior bar, okay, then there is this posterior bar, then there are two flat longitudinal elements on both the sides that is placed on the lateral slopes. So because of these multiple borders, patient feels uncomfortable. Okay, now let us move on to the fourth maxillary major connector, that is horseshoe or U-shaped connector. So what is this horseshoe or U-shaped connector? So this is a thin band of metal running along the lingual surface of posterior teeth. See, you can see in this diagram that this is the lingual surface of the posterior teeth, and you can see that there is this thin band of metal which runs along the lingual surface of the posterior teeth. Now anteriorly, this same lingual band, it covers the cingula, and posteriorly it extends 6 to 8 millimeter onto the palatal tissues. Okay, see, you can see that anteriorly it is covering the cingula, whereas posteriorly it is extending 6 to 8 millimeter onto the palatal tissues. Okay, now moving on to the third point, that is lateral borders should be at the junction of the horizontal and vertical slopes of the palate. Now suppose, see, this is your horizontal slope, and this is your lateral, or you can say vertical slope. So suppose this is the junction of both the slopes, so the lateral borders should be placed at this junction. Now let us move on to the indications. So where do we use U-shaped connector? We use it in class 4 when there is anterior teeth replacement required, and if there is palatal tori present, or if there is any prominent mid-palatine suture, we can go for this so that we don't cover, or we can completely avoid both of these situations. Now let us move on to the advantages. Advantages are that it is reasonably strong. This particular maxillary major connector is very strong, and the second is that it derives some vertical support as well as indirect retention from the palate. Now if you remember, indirect retention was also derived from where? Yes, from palatal strap, and also from U-shaped connector. And since the lateral borders of the connector is placed at the junction of the horizontal and the vertical slopes, so it also derives some vertical support. But what are its disadvantages? The disadvantages are less resistance to flexing and movement at open end. Okay, so at the open ends of the connectors, there is not much of flexing available, and there is the major connector is not allowed to move a lot. So hence it cannot be used in distal extension basis. Okay, distal extension cases such as class 1 Kennedy or class 2 Kennedy, and also for providing cross arch stabilization. So you cannot give it in class 1, class 2 Kennedy as well as in cross arch stabilization requirement. Now the second point is that greater bulk in anterior part is required to avoid flexing. So since it is also present in the anterior portion, it covers a greater portion in the anterior part, so you have to provide greater bulk, okay, so that to avoid flexing. So what will this ultimately lead to? Of course there will be interference in phonetics, and hence the patient will be uncomfortable. Okay, so these are your advantages and disadvantages of U-shaped connector. Now let us move on to the closed horseshoe. This was your horseshoe, and now the upcoming is your closed horseshoe, and it is also called as the antero-posterior palatal strap. So in closed horseshoe, there are basically two straps. One is placed in the anterior portion and the other in the posterior area, and they both are connected by flat longitudinal elements on each side of lateral slope of the palate. This is very similar to double palatal bar, one anterior, one posterior, and both are joined by longitudinal elements. The thickness of the metal strap which we are using to make this closed horseshoe, it should be uniform throughout. Now let us move on to the indications. So what are its indications? That is, you can use it in class 1 Kennedy and class 2 Kennedy if like modified Kennedy class 1 and 2, if it requires anterior tooth replacement also. And the second indication is when numerous teeth are to be replaced and there is a torus present. Okay, so these are the cases where you can use a closed horseshoe. Now let us move on to the advantages. So what are the advantages? It is rigid with less thickness. So you have to like make it rigid. You can make it rigid, and you can also use like achieve this rigidness without making it more thick. So that is a plus point. You can make it rigid with less thickness. Now it also derives good palatal support, and in this case also, as this case was in double palatal bar, you get a strong L-beam effect. Now what is the disadvantage? Of course, since it is present in the anterior portion, it covers a major anterior part. Of course, there will be interference in phonetics leading to patient discomfort. Now let us move on to the last maxillary major connector. So this is the complete palate. As the name suggests, you can see that it is covering the entire palate. That is the complete palate. So it extends over the entire palate, and the posterior palatal seal that is used in complete denture should not be used in RPD as it is not effective. Okay, so as this statement is very obvious, the PPS which we use in CD should not be used in RPD because it won't be effective. Okay, and it covers the entire palate. Now let us move on to the indications. So this is indicated in a lot of cases, that is Kennedy class 1, where length of span is long with anterior modification. So this is Kennedy class 1 along with if the span of the edentulous space is long and there is also anterior modification present. Kennedy class 1 with anterior and posterior modification spaces. Now, when opposing arch consists of a full complement of mandibular teeth and the patient has well-developed muscles of mastication, complete palate provides the needed extra support against vertical displacement. Now, the third indication is, suppose a patient comes and he or she wants like an RPD in the maxilla, and they have this mandibular teeth, complete full set of mandibular teeth is present. So what type of major connector will you go for? You will go for complete palate, but what will be the condition? That there is a full set of mandibular teeth present and also the muscles of mastications are well developed. So you can use this complete palate and it will give you much needed extra support against vertical displacement. Now if in case there is flat or flabby ridges present, okay, shallow palatal vault is present, so what can you go for? You can go for complete palate because it provides the best stabilization. Of course, since it covers the entire palate, so there will be a very good stabilization. Now the last is that cleft palate patients. So suppose if there is a patient with who has this cleft palate issue, and if their palatal vault is narrow, steep, so you can also go for this complete palate. Now let us move on to its advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages are that since it covers the complete palate, there is the best rigidity, best support and best strength. Okay, now let us move on to the disadvantage. The disadvantage is that, of course, since it covers the whole of the palate, there will be problem with phonetics, and also there might be some interference, there might be some like irritants because of the complete palate coverage. Hence it can lead to adverse soft tissue reactions because of the extensive coverage of the palate. Till now, we have studied all the maxillary major connectors in details, their introductions, their indications, their advantages and disadvantages, and I hope you have cleared all your doubts and you have a better understanding of maxillary major connectors now after this video. Now, this is a small summary, like in which Kennedy class, which major connectors are indicated, so that it will be easy for you to remember the indications. So in Kennedy class 1, you can go for closed horseshoe or complete palate. Whereas in Kennedy class 2, you can go for palatal strap and closed horseshoe, and in Kennedy class 3, palatal strap and palatal bar will be good enough, And in Kennedy Class 4, horseshoe, closed horseshoe, and complete palate can serve the purpose. So this was a small summary of all the major maxillary connectors like indications. With this we come to the end of this video, and very soon I'll also be posting a mandibular major connector video. So make sure to subscribe and also hit the bell icon so that you get a notification every time when I post a video. And before ending this video, I would like to remind you all to join my Telegram channel so that you can attend my weekend quiz, which I conduct every Saturday and Sunday from the various topics of dental subjects, so that you can be through with the MCQs which are asked in NEET MDS. Okay, till then, take care. Bye bye.